a longtime producer of The Apprentice, came out and stated that his non-disclosure agreement had expired. And he came out and said that he personally heard Donald Trump use the N-word in reference to the potential winning of Kwame Jackson potentially winning The Apprentice. Now, that was talked about in 2016. People said, well, there was these rumors, but this was the first time you actually had someone on the record say they heard him say it. He said there are tapes. And so, joining us now from Spartanburg, South Carolina, is the first runner-up on the first season of The Apprentice, Kwame Jackson. Always good to see you. Scott Bolden should know, see, I don't mind having Kappas on the show.
You know, I always got to give it to you, Roland.
Well,
I always got to.
Come on now. I had to go ahead and reference that.
And look, I even got on my little ode to 1906 black and gold, bro. I tried to work with you.
Remember, without Alpha, y'all just Kappa Psi.
We always do this. We start with this.
Come on now. That's how we do it. Always good to see you. First off, I just got to get your thought. I had Randall Pinkett on yesterday. I just got to get your thoughts and reaction. Really, for the first time, where Donald Trump is being held account for his actions, and there were 34 of those counts. That's why I'm rocking my Earl Campbell number 34 jersey today.
Okay. I like that. I would go. I would go with Peyton. I would go with Walter Payton, number 34, but I respect that you're from H-Town.
There you go.
I respect.
There you go.
Put it together. I feel like most black people feel. You're one of the voices of Black America, and I feel the same. I feel like this is a Jubilee moment, brother. I feel like this is the first time you can have somebody who needs to be held to account and actually see that person go into the system, see the system actually work, and then get a conviction on 34 counts of the other side. Now, the second part of that system is what we have to worry about, which is, what is the sentencing going to be? Is he going to do any time in jail? Is it going to be community service? Is it going to be house arrest? Hopefully, it'll be some assortment of those options so that we can see some accountability beyond just probation and a check.
He had this news conference today and blaming everybody and deny. I mean, you swear he is perfect. He's done nothing wrong and everybody else just lying. Oh, I don't owe any small businesses. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. That right there, if you are a supporter of him, you are just accepting the fact that you are backing an utterly delusional individual.
Yeah. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then we already know the rest. And it's like people start to do all kinds of mental gymnastics to get themselves in a position to control their own mental frame around how they want to see the outcome. So whatever the Pied Piper tells you, you start dancing to the beat. So we already know that installed base of America, we can't go after that. We can't change those people. All we can focus on is the 7 key swing states, the people who are in the margins, the Philadelphia suburbs, the Milwaukee suburbs, the Phoenix suburbs, and getting those voters on the margin to swing this election, even in my home state of North Carolina, or even now in South Carolina.
I've been interfacing with a lot of people on social media. Folks obviously have been talking about this. We've been getting a big kick out of this. There are all sort of memes that have been going around. I saw a pretty funny one. Somebody at where do y'all have that photo of the Trump shoe? Y'all had that photo. Somebody.
I've seen a prison cell called Bar-a-Lago, which is good. That was a good one. I saw Trump Tower with the prison tower watch where it was called Trump Tower in the middle of the prison yard. There's been some real good ones. There's the 34 counts. You saw the 34 counts with the count from Sesame Street.
I like this one right here. Somebody put the ankle bracelet on one of them golden Trump shoes. That was pretty good. And again, folks are having a good time at it. But the point that you're making there is the ultimate way to shut him up and shut him down and to inflict even more pain on him is to give him that second L in November.
That's it. And we got to hit them where it hurts. And we got to come out. All the folks who are thinking about not voting, we went through this before in 2020. We went through this in 2016. Please come out and vote. Your vote will make a difference. We already know the downstream ramifications of not voting. Folks who, didn't vote, that's how, we got the Supreme Court justice we currently have and the three, buffoons who've come on and changed the whole context of the court. Even at the local level, whether it's your county commissioner, supporting folks like Fani Willis, your local district attorney, all those are local voting decisions that need to be made. So people need to give them that second L, like you said, and come out in the fall and, hit the jumper when it counts.
So let's talk about this Apprentice producer coming out and coming on the record saying he absolutely heard Donald Trump use the N-word in reference to you potentially winning the show. Your thoughts?
Well, number one, he didn't say it to my face. Let's be very clear about that, because that's not going to work out the way he thinks it's going to work out. So I never personally heard it, but Bill Pruitt is a producer who was on the show. He was a friend. He was always a stand-up guy. And, 20 years later, look, it's a day late and a dollar short. So he's not going to get any profiles encouraged, John F. Kennedy style, from me for coming out, 20 years later when he had that information that could have helped the election. I always talk about in the spirit of Memorial Day, right? Who do we give medals of honor to? The people who show courage, people who run towards charging the hill, or the people who hide behind the machine gun? So for me, Bill Pruitt, he hid that information for a long time, regardless of NDA, because leadership and courage is stepping up in the moment and making a decision that may even be with a detriment to yourself. So Bill, I love you, but that's not necessarily going to get you, a lot of love with me. In regards to what he actually said, using the N-word, that's not even the question we should be asking, whether it happened, whether it didn't. That's very like fifth grade energy. Ooh, your mama's so fat jokes on the bus. That's not what's important, whether he called me the N-word or not. What's important are the downstream ramifications of his racism, creating that environment of permission, creating that permission structure for America to go to its most evil places. We saw that in Charlottesville. We saw that with migrant commentary and things he said. We've seen that with the rollbacks of DEI initiatives at my alma mater, UNC, at my other alma mater, Harvard. We saw that with Claudine Gay, the president of Harvard, losing her job. We've seen it in so many other areas where racism has been given that permission structure, and that language really started with Donald Trump. So his use of the N-word is really an avatar for America's acceptance of racism. We are okay with both overt and covert racism, and that's a hard, cold reality of what we need to face, and it presents an opportunity to do the work to pull ourselves out of that hole.
Well, it's interesting you have Pruitt who says that this is on tape, but Mark Burnett is like, oh, this is not on tape at all. I don't think for a second that Mark Burnett would even release those tapes. He's done everything he could to protect Donald Trump and supporting him for the past 8 years.
Yeah, Mark Burnett, look, has never been, some huge fan of mine. I've never been some huge fan of his. I feel like he's always focused on protecting the Apprentice brand, protecting Donald Trump, and focusing on his money and his next producer deal. So Mark Burnett also is not going to get a profile encouraged from me. I heard that Mark Burnett sold his production rights for The Apprentice to one of the big Hollywood houses, and supposedly they have the tape. But, a lot of my friends are saying, oh, maybe I should initiate some sort of lawsuit to create the reason to have these tapes come forward. So we'll see. I don't know. But, my thing is, it's not about the N-word. It's not even about me. I'm a big boy. It's not like the first time I've never heard that word or et cetera. But we know he didn't say it to my face. What it's about is the fact that we've created that permission structure in America to go ahead and do whatever you want to do in regards to race, whatever you want to do in regards to policy, whatever you want to do in regards to funding. And that's the detriment that's happened here in America that we really need to fight.
So just want to be clear, you are considering or will consider a suit that potentially could force these tapes to be released.
I could be open to it. If that's something that, could create a subpoena to actually have those tapes released, I could be open to it. Look, I'm not going to do all the legal work. That's for the legal minds out there and the context that I have to structure behind. But look, I'm not opposed to doing my part to move the needle with swing voters to get those decisions made that might get information out there that will create, the proper amount of swing state votes to go against Donald Trump. So, I will do my part in regards to that, but that's not on me.
It has certainly been quite a crazy, frankly, decade, if you will. He flirted running for president in 2011, chose not to, announced in 2015. And I said when I was on ABC this week, I said the Republican Party, they've allowed evil to consume evil into their home, and now it has consumed them. So that now they have to deal with it. But the reality is, what I also say to a lot of our folks and conscious folks who are white, Latino, Asian, Native American, that what this man wants to do, there is no bottom. He has no bottom. There's no such thing as, oh, he'll learn his lesson, even when it comes to this guilty plea. And so to inflict pain on him is to do the one thing that he absolutely despises, being publicly ridiculed and losing.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. The fact that what we can do is to do our damage at the poll in November. We can definitely do that. We also can do our damage by what we did to get this court to move forward with those 34 convictions. So essentially we've done that part, but now, like I said, let's hope that the sentencing is just as hard. But being able to constrain Donald Trump, to constrain his freedom of movement, his freedom of travel, his freedom to communicate, that's going to be something that he's never experienced in his life. And that's what I'm actually, frankly, looking forward to, because he pursued people like the Central Park Five with that same scarlet letter C, right? Convict, somebody who can't be trusted. You're a felon. You've done all these things wrong. You are evil. You're scum. He put that scarlet letter C on that Central Park Five, and now he has to wear that Central Park, that scarlet letter C that he tried to put on them, and he has to experience the system that he tried to put people in who rightly did not have any reason to be in there. That's something, a false narrative that he pushed that essentially now is coming back on him.
All right, then. Kwame, always good to see you. And folks keep asking me if I'm going to bring my ascots back. Are you still doing your lotto ties and stuff like that?
You know, those are collector's items now, Roland. It's all about if people could find them, they have to find them like on eBay or whatever. But no, it was a good run, made a little money, and, moved on to other ventures.
All right, then. Well, look, always good to see you. Keep giving them hell. And you don't look too bad in that black and old gold.
Yo to the news.
Yeah, You can keep that little okay sign. All right. Kwame, I appreciate it, my brother. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Somebody's killing poor people, and it's going on.
When COVID happened, poor people were dying at a rate already of 800 people a day. Before COVID, if you went to a funeral every single day, it would take you 600 years to attend all the funerals of the people who will die from the ravages of policy violence, poverty, and low wages in America in just 1 year. It would take you 2 years and 19 days to go to all of the funerals of the people that will die today, and oftentimes silence. Nobody talks about this political genocide, but we are determined today to remember their death and be a resurrection of voting power and voice power like never before.
Economic justice and saving this democracy are deeply connected. We, as a nation, must listen to the demands of the poor, who are pushing and will continue to push political candidates and elected leaders to lift from the bottom so that everybody can rise.
Take back the mic, take back the mic, take back the mic, take back the mic.
We are the poor, the marginalized, and the underpaid. And we are taking one step forward to say that everybody has a right to live.
Poverty is not the fault of those who are impoverished. It is caused by those who make the policy.
There are over 135 million poor and low-wage, low-income people in this nation.
The biggest block of potential voters by far is low-income, low-wage voters.
I can't afford medicine. Sometimes I have to skip because of the cost.
The farm worker community is tired of the violence imposed upon us by greed, exclusion, and denial of basic human rights.
Those folk that represented by that casket, poor and low-wage workers who are the most moral people in this country because they go to work every day believing, even though going to work is hazardous to their health.
I'm tired of working 70 to 80 hours a week and still not have money for the necessity of bills. I'm tired of getting sick and not being able to go see the doctor. Having to make a choice to pay between rent or the light bill or food or clothes.
You cannot claim to care about families and a culture of life and then do everything in your power to rob people of equal access to resources and to force them to live in poverty.
Leadership of both parties have waged war on poor people and low-wage workers.
And this government has treated people experiencing poverty, including their military families, with disdainful, deliberate, malicious neglect.
So the truth is that my son died from poverty.
We refuse to accept poverty as the fourth leading cause of death.
The fourth leading cause of death in this, the richest country in the world.
We march today for our children and the generations to come.
And we need to do it with the loudest voices possible, the biggest actions possible.
We will voice our demands and register our vote.
When we stand up and when we stand together, things change.
There is the electorate that is, and then there is the electorate that should be.
34 million eligible poor and low-income voters did not vote in 2016. If just 20% of those voters in swing states were mobilized around an agenda, they could change the political outcome of every election. So we're launching the most massive voter mobilization and turnout campaign in history of poor and low-wage voters, allies, and religious leaders.
People are dying, but we know it doesn't have to be this way. And so we are calling on everyone to join us in this Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
We are here, we will be seen, we will be heard, and our power will be felt. We don't need to be an insurrection. We are a resurrection that will be felt across this country. Are you ready? 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 We are a resurrection, and we are ready. And